What is up, Top Shot Nation? Super excited about this one. We're going to break down all of the moments making it into the MGLE set. This is the first rare drop of Series 3 coming on Tuesday, December 21st. And to break down all the moments with me, I'm joined by my right-hand man, Austin Kent, our content lead. Austin, how's it going?
It's going great. So excited to go through some of these MGLE plays with you. One of the prized flagship sets of Top Shot, just a set that's inherently packed with some of the finest moments from the season and some of the most collectible players. I've been looking forward to this basically since opening day because we've been saving the best of the best plays for these rare and legendary drops, and now it's time to show them.
That's absolutely right. For those of you who don't know, the MGLE set is all about the best players in the league. We take 5 players from every team, the 5 players we deem to be the most exciting, the most collectible for our collectors. We bring them into this one set. So today we're going to be breaking down the first wave of the players making it into the set. And without further ado, let's just get right into it because the players will speak for themselves. The moments will speak for themselves. And we're starting off with a certified baller, one of the most improved players on the season so far. We got Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony has been such a fun player to watch, showing no signs of a sophomore slump. He's stepped up, got 33 points in a W over the Utah Jazz, including this epic soaring tomahawk jam. Cole is always coming up with awesome highlights, and we're happy to have him.
From Cole Anthony, one of the best scorers in the East, to CJ McCollum, one of the best scorers in the West. But here we see CJ with the rare defensive beaut going up high, rejecting at the rim.
Anytime you can see a player kind of flash a skill that they don't normally do, it always catches your eye. Finished with 29 points and a win in this one as well. CJ does it all.
Going back to the Orlando Magic, we've got our star rookie from this drop, Franz Wagner, who's been a revelation for the Magic. 8th overall pick in the draft, but certainly looking like he can be all rookie first team this year.
It's been just great watching him go to work with his brother. You can tell how hyped they are, and the Orlando Magic fans have a nice young core that they'll be able to watch for a while.
Going back to the most improved player race, we've got Jordan Poole, who's showing out for the Warriors and figures to play a massive role in their championship pursuit.
Jordan Poole has been such a fun piece to watch for the Warriors. I think one of the things that people are sleeping on is how this team, beyond their stars, has just improved their games over the course of the past 2 years. And Poole is like the shining example of it. He's averaging 18 points a game, this season. And clearly, as you can see in a play like this, he's the type of player you can kind of just put the ball in his hands and let him go to work.
Absolutely. And here, finishing over Wendell Carter, who's been one of the best rim protectors on the season so far. When Clay comes back, they're going to have so much talent, so much scoring potential. I can't wait to see it all unfold. Moving along from a guy that's in the most improved player of the year race this year to the guy that won the award last year, Julius Randle. He's had a somewhat up and down season with the Knicks so far, but moments like this just show why he was an all-star last year, why he was an all-NBA player last year, and the potential he still can bring to the team every single night.
Yeah, Julius Randle has that touch around the basket. That's always fun to see. To see him be able to not only get past Giannis, but to be able to have the body control and the touch to sort of finish such an awkward layup. And to have a bucket like that come in a win over the defending champions is always nice as well.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that's an Antetokounmpo sandwich blown by Giannis, beating Thanasis at the rim. That's few players in the world have ever been able to do that. Moving ahead, we've got a guy that has totally taken the Eastern Conference by storm this year. Lonzo Ball coming in hot with the Chicago Bulls and looks like a rejuvenated player there.
We've seen signs of really how he can be a contributing player to a great team. We've seen that over the course of his young career. And now to have him on a team that's like a serious contender in their conference is nice. Obviously isn't his first matchup against his little brother, but it's his first matchup this season. And we knew right away that as soon as we saw Lonzo blocking LaMelo, that's something we wanted to get into the product.
And truly one of the best, most iconic thumbnails in Top Shot history with this one. So very exciting. Moving ahead, we've got Luguentz Dort, one of the best defenders in the league, but he's really come along strong in the last year or so and has turned himself into quite a strong offensive weapon as well.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch, as he rounds out his game from being quite one-dimensional to now just being a force on both ends of the floor. I love clutch steals, epic steals like that. And to be able to recover the ball and take it single-handedly for the game-clinching layup is nice.
From Luguentz Dort to another one of the best defenders in the league, we've got Marcus Smart, who flashes what made him at one point the best point guard in his college class. He hasn't played much point guard in the NBA, but still has some great court vision.
I love this pass. I think this is one of my favorite plays of the MGLE drop, just because it's just so smooth how he pulls it off. Those big, strong, powerful guard/forward hybrids that can really do it all. It's fun when you see Smart flash that playmaker side as well.
Yeah, stretch 6 is what Marcus Smart was self-appointed. So, he can guard every position on the floor. And when he brings some offense to the table, it's just everything's gravy at that point. Moving ahead, we're going back to OKC. We've got arguably the most underrated player in the entire league, pride of Canada. Austin, you can speak to Shai and what he means for you as a Canadian. But here we see the audacity, the pull-up from 40 feet against the Lakers to seal the victory earlier in the year. Talk to me about this moment.
This was a fun moment that really took, Twitter and socials by storm, because obviously the Thunder matched up against the Lakers, two teams with very different outlooks at the beginning of the season. I think the Thunder were up 3 when Shai pulls the trigger on this very deep 3. Not very long into the shot clock. It's a very audacious, bold attempt, but he pulls it off. And he lets the crowd hear it. But we love to take pride in any sort of Canadian baller that thrives at this level. And Shai Gilgeous out of Hamilton, not too far from Toronto, is certainly a player that we take a lot of joy out of watching.
Canadian basketball certainly on the rise. And between him and Dort on the same team in the same backcourt, that's just exciting. From Shai to another guy who at times is feeling himself and likes to take the occasional heat check, we've got Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier has been a great pickup for the Hornets since he signed 2 years ago, and we're seeing it. Him and LaMelo love playing with each other. Here's the nice handles from the Cleveland native.
Yeah, I love this. One of the coldest dribble moves so far this season. To see him hit him with the yo-yo dribble like that, then just step back. I mean, credit to the defender for being able to recover as quickly as he did and still get a fairly, decent contest on that shot. But this move I've watched many, many times and will watch many, many more times now that it's minted into a moment.
Everyone we've covered so far is a star or a strong starter. We're moving on to a guy that I think when all is said and done will be a Hall of Famer. We got Anthony Davis, and arguably his flashiest moment on Top Shot to date. Break this one down for me.
I love this. We've seen players turn to this sort of like bailout move a couple times, over the course of the past couple decades, really. We've seen it usually in all-star games, but we're seeing it more and more as a legitimate way to get out of trouble in situations exactly like this. It's not like a flashy, let me throw this up and then go get it. Is like a legitimate way to avoid the defense. And so that's kind of fun to see. And for him to throw it down while still contested is nice. He had a big game in the Sun and it went over the Spurs.
Moving ahead, we've got another Canadian. Austin, I swear you juiced the stats here. Dillon Brooks, who is the real heart and soul of the Grit and Grind Grizzlies. They've been on a tear with or without Ja Morant. They seemingly can't lose. And here we see Dillon Brooks, taking it to the house and throwing it down.
Yeah, Dillon Brooks' intensity and his attitude is contagious. And I think, like you said, he's part of that, Memphis Grizzlies soul these days. Dillon Brooks is a scorer. He's got a nose for putting the ball in the net, and he does exactly that here. 21 points in just 21 minutes of action for him on this night. At least, if you know nothing else, Dillon Brooks is going to go out there and get you a bucket when you throw him out there.
Moving ahead to another guy that's not afraid to maybe use his elbows, big beef boards. We got Isaiah Stewart, who I think in year 2 has really surprised people with just how much he can do with the ball in his hands. Break this one down for me, Austin.
He just pulls off this epic crossover to be able to kind of get that room for him to run and take it to the rack himself. Debated calling this one a handles play just because I love the crossover so much, but that's mostly just because it's somewhat of a bizarre move to see from a player, a big beef type player like Isaiah Stewart. I just love to see him, take it hard to the rack.
Yeah, and with guys like Stewart that were super high pedigree, he was a top 5 recruit out of high school. The question was, will he be able to translate his game to the NBA? Well, a year and change into his career, he's made the resounding answer yes so far. Moving along here, we've got the reigning 6th man of the year who's back at it, doing it just as well as he did last year. Here's Jordan Clarkson hitting a big shot.
Part of a 30-point game for Jordan Clarkson. Nothing he's never done before. He's such a prolific scoring guard. He makes everything look so nice. Everything looks so smooth. I love just seeing him gauge the defender with the dribbles back and forth before just pulling up, turning around, kind of enjoying it a bit with the bench, and then heading back on D.
Moving ahead from one of the best bench scorers in the NBA to a guy that used to be one of the bench scorers in the NBA, but he has really ascended as a starter again. He's with the Clippers, had a huge breakout postseason last year, and Reggie Jackson's carried over that confidence into this regular season.
What a joy to watch. And as a Pistons fan, I'm especially excited whenever Reggie Jackson gets a chance to show what he's capable of, because he's such a potent scorer. And in a year without Kawhi Leonard, he can't go to Paul George like all the time. And Reggie Jackson has emerged as this awesome, supplemental secondary weapon for that team. Reggie Jackson is such a fun player and such an underrated asset for a team like this to have.
I remember seeing him at Madison Square Garden when he was back with Boston College, him alongside Tyrese Rice, a potent backcourt. I always thought he was going to be a good NBA player. I thought he was going to be more of a two-way, defensive specialist, but he's really emerged as just a potent scorer at every level. Moving ahead, speaking of potent scorers at every level, the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokić, who he won the MVP last year, but I think there's a really strong case to be made that he's even better this year. And here we see on the defensive end, he's taken the leap, and this moment captures that pretty nicely.
Yeah, Jokić, he's not afraid to make a big stop when the game is on the line. And in this play, the Nuggets are up by 1, and the Rockets have a chance to, try to win it. There's 0.9 seconds on the clock when Jokić blocks this Jason Tate attempt. And it's such an awkward block, but it's clean. And we wanted to make sure we showed that in slow-mo so people could truly appreciate how he managed to pull this off. But that's a game-saving block for Jokić there. Whether he's doing it on the offensive end or the defensive end, we're really just so lucky to have him in the NBA right now.
And we call these blocks, as a Knicks fan, this was the signature Carmelo Anthony block. Barely out of the shooter's hands. Definitely not jumping super high to get it, but sending it far, kind of the quick rejection. Love it. Good to see Nikola Jokić carrying the torch onto the next generation. Moving ahead, we've got Chris Paul. So going from Jokić, one of the best passers in the league, to Chris Paul, one of the best passers in the league. Chris Paul also arguably the best mid-range scorer still in the game today. And here we see him just putting on the sauce. This is just so signature CP3. It's awesome to see it in the Top Shot family.
Yeah, it's been, 15, 16, 17 years of us watching Chris Paul just pull off just seamless, smooth dribble move, time and time again. It never gets old. He's just so fluid with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and with Chris Paul in particular, it's fun to see moves like these because you see in the offseason, the training videos on Instagram and Twitter, these are moves that he's putting in hundreds and hundreds of reps a day just to bust out once or twice a season. But he has it in his bag, and it's pretty damn impossible to stop. Moving ahead, man, just star on star on star here. We've got Joel Embiid. The Sixers have had a somewhat turbulent start to their season, but Embiid, just like Anthony Davis before him, using creativity. I don't know if there's ever been a guy 7'2" or bigger with that much dexterity, that much touch. Break down this moment for me.
I think maybe we take for granted just how easy he makes things look at his size. Whereas Anthony Davis is off the backboard to himself, is more a way of getting himself out of a jam. And Embiid just pulls this off, and he pulls it off so cleanly. 32 points in a win for the Sixers. And Embiid's going to get it done no matter how he has to do it.
Moving ahead here, we've got Miles Bridges, arguably the best dunker, inarguably the best dunker in the NBA. Whichever argument you want to take, he's in the top 3. And here we see the windmill against the Knicks. Pretty vicious. And you just love to see that net swoosh right up as he throws it down.
For a player like Miles Bridges that throws down crazy dunks, basically every game, it's always tough to pick, like, where are you going to land on for Miles Bridges' MGLE moment. As you may remember, this wasn't the only windmill in this game. This was a sort of a response to a previous windmill from Obi Toppin that you may be seeing in the product at some point. But just the fact that Miles Bridges, a player, could quite possibly see, oh, you did a windmill, just give me the ball and let me show you what I can do. Miles Bridges has been doing that for a couple years now, and he'll be doing it for a while. So it's always fun to be able to enjoy those.
Moving ahead, we've got a guy, he's been in trade rumors a little bit. Wouldn't be shocked to see him totally change the landscape of the playoff picture because he's just so portable, so versatile. One of the best rim protectors in the NBA, very serviceable shooter. But here we see Myles Turner crashing the boards and finishing it down hard.
When you see that he literally dunks on 3 players, I was happy to see that was captured in the thumbnail. There's few players that have the size and the leaping ability and the strength to go up, battle for a board like that and turn it into a dunk. Somewhat of a poster in the process.
Now, last but certainly not least, we've got the King with his first rare moment of Series 3, the step back on Domantas Sabonis, arguably the dagger in this game, a close one with the Pacers.
LeBron was on one this game, and it's always fun to see. He just sort of took over in the fourth quarter and overtime, and this wasn't his only memorable celebration in this one, but this is the one that we're able to share with the Top Shot crowd. This has become somewhat of a signature celebration for LeBron. You know me, I did some research. The first time I could kind of find an article talking about the silencer celebration was back in 2013, but now it's just so iconic. So I was so happy to be able to get that captured, not only in the thumbnail, but obviously in the play itself. LeBron's just showing no signs of slowing down. This deep 3 came with like 2 minutes left in overtime, and obviously the Lakers would go on to win that one. Just a huge game from the King. Yeah, it never gets old, to be honest.
Never has, never will. LeBron still elite. There you have it. Those are the players that are in the drop. We've got a few more players to break down as the challenge rewards coming out soon. And let's start with arguably the most iconic moment from a rookie this season. Davion Mitchell stripping Donovan Mitchell, setting off the fast break and the alley-oop.
There's been a ton of demand for this moment since the day it happened, and the day it happened was the second game of the season for the Kings. Davion Mitchell, obviously so highly regarded for his defensive abilities. So excited to see this stop on the platform and to see what else Davion has up his sleeve in the future.
Yeah, it was an off night for Donovan. That's thanks to what Davion can do. Moving ahead, we've got Khris Middleton. This one's a special moment for a lot of reasons, but Middleton, I think, still arguably the most underrated player in the league. And here we see in front of nearly 80 Top Shot collectors in the stands, season opener, taking a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book in Wisconsin to throw it the length of the court to Giannis in transition for the slam.
I think this is the first moment of the season. First quarter of the very first game. Obviously, the Bucks and the Nets had all the attention to themselves during that banner raising, and Khris Middleton and Giannis picked up right where they left off the year before.
Now, last but certainly not least, among the challenge awards, we've got Trae Young, a superstar in his own right, putting on the sauce, the handles, the step back. The combination of speed, quickness, handles, and touch make him, other than maybe Steph, just unparalleled in this category.
Yeah, 33 points, 8 boards, 10 assists, making his defender dance. Trae Young is such a gifted offensive player. Poor Karis LeVert. Decent recovery, all things considered, but it's just tough to guard Trae Young, dude.
There you have it. We've got 21 MGLE moments making it into these packs with an additional 3 as challenge rewards. We can't wait to share them with you. We can't wait for you to have them. If you're unable to get a pack, not everyone will be able to. There will always be an opportunity to snag these moments in the marketplace. Until next time, happy collecting.